I'm looking really excited. Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 3. Oh, hang on. Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 3. Oh, hang on. Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 3. Oh, hang on. Hello, hello, so episode 3. Oh, hang on. Hello, hello, so episode 3. I'm gonna actually, hang on. I'm gonna stop it and then go back on so I can turn the volume down. Okay, sorry guys. I forgot, that's the third step. Turn the volume down. Right, I'm gonna stop recording. Okay. Hello, hello, and welcome to episode 3 of the Reframe What's Possible podcast. Today, I'm joined by my amazingly special guest and client, Lisa Weslegirl, who is the founder of the Black Sheep Empowerment Society. She's a transformational empowerment mentor, guide, taking people from feeling like a misfit to their most genuine and authentic self. And this is really powerful because today we're talking about mindset alchemy and returning to the self. Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely. It's such a pleasure. I've been looking forward to this since your invitation. It's always such a delight to have conversations with you.
Yeah, and you. So today we are talking about what happens when we awaken and how we can reclaim our power and how we can actually reframe what's possible by shifting our mindset and going deep into the healing. So I'm going to begin by just saying in 2019, I had my awakening in an explosive way. But when I look back, I can see that it was happening. It started in 2015, but I just wasn't aware. And I was working as an educator in mainstream education in an inner city school in London. I was working 70 hours a week. I was so busy, so focused on my work. That was my whole identity. So there was nothing beyond my identity, beyond my work. I was passionate about it and I was successful. But I'd also been diagnosed at 30 with ADHD, and I was taking stimulants every day from 2015. And that was to keep up with my workload so that I could produce and keep producing at this high level. It was only later when I realized I was a projector in human design that I realized that I was actually taking the stimulants to simply fit into a generator world. Yeah. And to follow a belief system that just wasn't aligned with my truth and what I could actually physically do. Equally, I kept repeating patterns that were getting more louder. I say I got bitch slapped by the universe.
I love that phrase. That's awesome.
And that was like towards the end when my soul was like, no, that's it. And that was 2019. But what happened was in 2015, I met a guy, fell in love briefly, and that was a really unsuitable partner. And then I met another guy, got robbed. He was unsuitable and emotionally unavailable. And all this time I'm a teacher and I'm living these parallel lives and playing many parts and all incongruent. drinking huge amounts of alcohol to come down off the stimulants, smoking loads of weed to just get level, after working from like 6 a.m. till like midnight every night for so long. In 2018, I let another guy in, and he was again really, really abusive. And that's when I said, no, there's something needs to change. And I began to read around trauma bonding. I started to look into myself, what am I doing? Why do I keep repeating these patterns? And it was him who said to me, you don't love yourself, do you? That really kind of triggered it.
Yeah.
And so that was like, whoa, an alarm bell. And my house was more like an office. I didn't really have a house that I lived in and enjoyed. I was just constantly obsessed with working. And so, that was my way of coping. It was another form of addiction, workaholism. And I received all of my validation from that identity. So in 2018, I had the dark night of the soul, where I was numb and everything was empty and I could not see anything. No future. I just was like, I'm not lovable. I've never been loved. I started to really look at what was going on. And my brother, who was training to be a coach, I'd said to him, look, I would like a coach. I think, I still had a little flicker of light in me going, I could get some help. And he said, hey, I've got a friend who I can put you to. And she came to my house and she said, and I said, look, I don't know if I need therapy or coaching, but something's happened. Some really bad stuff's happened and it keeps happening, and I don't want to happen anymore. And she said to me in the first session, if you could be, do, or have anything you wanted and money was no object, what would you do? And I sat there with this piece of A3 paper, because I had my A3. And I was like, nothing. I didn't know. I was a musician. I wanted to write, but I was full of limitation. And I couldn't even utter like a dream or a desire. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, no, I don't know. And then she said, well, what if you go back in your mind to being 20 and you pose yourself, what would you have said then? And it started streaming. And I was like, I'd write a book, I'd do this, I'd travel. And that was in November 2018. I handed in my resignation for my deputy headship in a school that I'd built the culture and designed it all through curriculum and brought them from requires improvement to good in Ofsted. And that December, the 26th, I flew to Thailand, and I flew to a little village called Tritanu, and it was a village full of healers. And I began to get healing. I got Reiki, I had theta healing, I had shamanic soul retrieval. And then I got this really big purge and this really big flu, which I thought was dengue fever. But looking back, I realized it was ascension flu. I was purging a lot. So what happened very, very briefly over that period of those 8 weeks that I ended up staying there, I was only booked in for 4. And again, I met a hypnotherapist who said to me, I said to him, I would love to stay for 4 more weeks because I feel like I need to, but I can't. And he said, that's just a belief. And that's when I started to hear about limiting beliefs. And it really, again, it was like I call it the tremor of truth, when you get that higher self core shudder in your spine. And I thought, okay, what could I do? And so, I said it out there, I worked it out, and things happened. And I ended up staying for another 4 weeks. And then I was sitting in this yoga place called Orion. And my friends at the time there were talking about Abraham Hicks. And I said, who's that? And they said, oh, she channels some beings. And I went away onto YouTube and I began to listen to Abraham Hicks every morning. And it was like that 8 weeks, everything shifted for me. Like whatever I experienced all throughout my life, I began to shine a light deeply within, and I began my shadow work. They'd done enough clearing for my heart center to open, and my clear skills started becoming super clear. So I started channeling, I started downloading, connecting with angels. And I suddenly realized I could reframe what was possible. I could transform my life. Got back to England, and I wanted to build my education platform. And it was like, my soul was like, no, I just couldn't start it. So I cleared out my house. I kept clearing and clearing, and just releasing so much clutter and baggage and energy, and focusing on my mindset. So it was the first thing to start shifting, using affirmations, scripting, getting deep into what do I want to create, and suddenly awakening to the concept that I could be the creator. And it was the reframing of my life in context of the idea that we choose our families, we choose our experience. We're souls coming here to grow and expand and evolve. And it helped me to have such deep forgiveness and deep gratitude for everything that I was able to say, now's the time for me to change. And that's why my work is really rooted in helping people to connect with their inner master, reclaim their personal power, really tune into their intuition and develop that so that they can make choices and decisions that are soul-led and from the heart, and to know themselves. And this idea of us knowing ourselves has been something that's always been important to me, but I hadn't realized how disconnected I was until that time. And I ended up getting a download to fly to Costa Rica in the June of the 2019. And while I was there, I decided and kind of realized that I wasn't going to go back to England. And so I didn't. I just let go of my house, I let go of all my possessions, and I followed the path. And along the way, learned quite a few things, learned all about the universal laws, and started training as a healer. And that's kind of how Mindset Alchemy began. And so really, we want to talk today about the impact of that work on you and how that shifted, how it's helped you to reclaim your personal power and tune into yourself, and why the processes, the practices, and the energy clearings and all of that is part of becoming a conscious creator. Because it starts with the mental body, some of us, Abraham Hicks, but we soon realize that the subconscious is filled with limitations, old memories, energy that needs to be cleared, concepts of the world that are not healthy or useful anymore, energy that doesn't belong to us, we need to release. And then we also know that we have an energy body. So that's what my work does. So at this point, I would love to ask you to tell us a bit about your story.
Yes. Oh gosh, I can relate to so many pieces of your story. I remember, oh gosh, I don't even know exactly where to begin. I was stuck in a very miserable marriage. And I was trying so hard to make it work, and I was trying so hard to fix it. And I realized at a certain point, no matter what I did, that I was at a point in my life where I couldn't have happily ever after anymore, that I had to choose either happily or ever after. So it was either choosing myself and my own happiness, or choosing an eternity with somebody that no longer suited me, suited my needs. I could tell that I had just become so stagnant, and I wasn't in a position and around energy where I could grow. And so I made the hard choice, and it has been just the most amazing time where I stood up for myself and I did what my soul needed to grow and to learn. And through the phase of discovering myself better, I had times where I just felt so lost, and I knew that there was like so much more potential, that I had so much more to offer the world, and that I was dimming my own light. Like you, I used work as a coping mechanism, as a way to just numb myself somewhere else to turn my focus, because to turn my focus inside was just way too painful. And I remember having this time of feeling like it was that martyrdom was kind of the way to turn towards other people and make them happy. I was like so stuck in people pleasing. I remember being so proud of myself, thinking, if I only just fill the void in everyone else's life, I won't recognize my own voids.
Yes.
And I thought that was something like to be proud of.
But it's interesting. Were you conscious of that awareness? Were you conscious that you were doing? See, I was doing it, but I was unconscious of that.
Yeah, I thought it was something to be proud of. Little did I recognize at that point how I was completely and utterly abandoning myself.
Yeah.
And so when I started to seek out my own happiness and put myself first, that's when my life really started to change. And that's when all of these things started opening up to me. But I do remember it's taken a while. Like it is such a journey. And for me personally, I think that this is a journey that's never going to end. As we grow and as we evolve, we learn more and more and more about ourselves. And that used to like frustrate me. Like, okay, I want to take a 12-week program and I want to be fixed within this 12 weeks. But I realized how flawed that thinking was, because I'm not broken to begin with. It's just a matter of discovery.
Yes.
And it's coming from that place. It's just so empowering. So completely empowering to be able to recognize where you've come from. And if I only seek my own happiness. And that was a huge turning point for me. And I could almost get very emotional about it when I recognized that I was my own happiest ever after. That I was seeking this fairy tale, and then this fairy tale included this other person. And that I thought that if I left that other person, that my fairy tale was gone. Little did I realize I am my own happiest ever after.
What does that mean for you when you say that?
It means turning inward. Yes, I recognized at a certain point that I had to choose, happily or ever after. But I thought that was a choice. But now what I realize is when I am my own happiest ever after, I'm seeking my own internal happiness. I'm not seeking external validation. And that is eternal. That is forever, because I will always have myself. Other people may come and go in my lifetime, but I can stand solid in knowing that I will always be there for myself. And in moments where I'm out of alignment, I can feel and I can look to see, is there an area of my life that I am abandoning myself? And where do I need to turn inward and heal myself or soothe myself or look towards filling my own needs and not anywhere else but inside?
That's right. And this is what the foundations of the work is. So it's learning to know thyself. It's being able to, number one, identify with the inner child and those core wounds and that aspect of the self, so that we can start reparenting our inner child, so we're not reacting and making decisions based on that aspect of self,
That's huge. Yes.
And then there is the neutral observer, being able to get centered and get deeply conscious of our own patterns and observing those without judgment, and being able to make shifts
I think neutral observer is the most powerful tool. I remember learning those words from you and just being like so drawn and so curious to what does that mean and how can this change my journey? And it blew my mind when I really thought of, oh, it's like treating yourself as though you would a really good friend. Like, you don't judge them. You don't do those things to somebody that you truly care about. And so, can we provide that same sense for ourselves? Can we look at our struggles without being so caught up in the story?
Mm-hmm.
Or if we are caught up in the story, just recognizing that too.
Yeah.
Like recently I called you and I was like, I am so caught up in the story. I can't see my way out. It's like I was lost in this big forest. And that was okay because I could see it. I could recognize it within myself. And a situation, and we all have these situations, a situation that would have previously taken me, 3 or 4 days to a week to recover from, I was able to do it within a couple of hours.
Yes, and that's the beauty of having the tools. And so part of the meditation mastery course, which you began with, we'll talk about the Mindset Alchemy in a minute, but that part of the process is really about helping us to process, become aware of things that don't belong to us, or to become aware of where our pain body, as Eckhart Tolle calls it, is holding on to old stories, energies, and memories, and having the energetic tools to be able to process those and release them. But with the Mindset Alchemy, so this story is interesting. So how did Mindset Alchemy come into to existence? I learned Ho'oponopono, the original version, back in November. And this is an ancient Hawaiian spiritual counseling and prayer tool, which isn't what people think it is. It's not Hugh Len's version of it, which is self something through Ho'oponopono, and he teaches the 4-word mantra. What I was taught was actually the original process and prayer method, which is an energetic clearing technique, which allows us to program specific words into a prayer, and it goes directly to the subconscious mind and clears it. I had a brainwave and I loved the tool. And I started to realize that the way that I used to teach children how to read, which was to make the explicit thinking process, to make the implicit explicit by teaching them the steps that they went through to come to a conclusion, I realized I could transfer that metacognition to create something really powerful for those who really want to know themselves and those who want to clear the limiting belief, the stagnant emotion, the old trauma very quickly. Because first we get the awareness and then we have the tool to clear it. And it's a problem-solving tool. So what I've been designing is a way for people to start reading the clues from their external world, drawing on many disciplines, including the universal laws, understanding that the inner world reflects the outer world, looking at how people, circumstances, events are mirroring aspects of our internal realm. Could be a belief, it could be an inner child wound, it could be something. So by combining this self-awareness methodology with the Ho'oponopono clearing tool, we have something very powerful. And I would love you to talk about how that shifted stuff for you in a deep level, how we unfucked your shit.
Yes, exactly. And that's part of my program is through the work that I've done with you. So yes, it all began with those magical words of neutral observer. And that is what provides that awareness that you were just speaking of, without being able to set aside the judgment of how we're feeling or how we're acting, how we're behaving. If we can't set that aside, we can't observe it in a way that we can really, like you say, cut to the core. So it's first that awareness and then kind of dissecting it to determine what is the root belief or memory, or what is, the old conditioning that's been really huge for me recently. What is it that I need to release in order to become truer to myself?
Yes. No,
Go ahead.
that's what it does.
Yes.
So the Ho'oponopono tool works like this on a very basic level, the conscious mind. So the idea is we have these three minds plus the divine mind. So, and everyone, I want people to be aware that this isn't about the technique. Ho'oponopono is about divinity. The divine does the work. So what you do is the conscious mind says, oh, I want to become a millionaire. I want to start a business. The subconscious says, hell no, motherfucker. You're just going to procrastinate, or you're going to do this, or you're going to stay in a pattern of behavior. And so
because that shit's not safe.
Right.
That shit's not safe for you to do.
Because there's some memory, some event, which is in the subconscious that is saying, you know what? Yeah, that's not safe for you to do. So
somebody has told you, like, you can't do that. You're not capable. Like, it could be anything.
Right.
You don't hear it. Like, we can't connect to it until we go through this process that you're speaking of.
Yes. So what happens is this process of investigation allows us to identify and cut to the core of the actual subconscious belief, pattern, emotion, or whatever. So conscious wants something or feels something. By using the muscle testing method, which I've devised this methodology which helps us to ask questions. I have this whole acronym which underpins all of the practice as well. So it's mastery. Meditate, ask questions, set intentions, tell the truth, mastery. E, emotions, emotional intelligence, use the guidance, use this intelligence, respond, not react, and say yes to. So what are we giving ourselves permission to do? And it's moving, because it's not just healing, it's not just creating change, it's really about becoming so potently aligned with our authentic self that you're operating in as a clear channel for divine intelligence to come through you, for your intuition to be as clear as a bell, to make choices that are aligned with your soul and not listen to the external noise. But the process, what it does, the conscious mind, we then speak to the subconscious and get the actual answers, because actually sometimes we can consciously think it is, but we don't know what it is. We get that. And then we do the Ho'oponopono clearing, which is when we program this prayer. And you have to, it's like Reiki, you have to be attuned. You can't just use the prayer, because what happens is we're playing with the structures of the subconscious. So the first time, and you were my first client that I actually trained in Ho'oponopono, Mindset Alchemy Ho'oponopono. Yes. And what we do is in the process is we reprogram the structures, which enables you to be able to start this communication on behalf of yourself and behalf of others. So when you train in it, you're not only able to clear for yourself, you're able to do it for other people on their behalf, unless you train them too. And my mission is to see as many people as possible have this tool in their pocket, because it's just so damn powerful and transformational. But coming back to,
and it happens so quickly too. When you've taught me how to do this, and I began to, like you said, cut to the core, find out these beliefs, and then clear them, it is so amazing. How quickly your mindset changes at that point.
Yes.
So quickly, and what a deep and powerful impact it has, because these are like the sorts of things that you've helped me clear. Were the belief that I needed to save other people. I was responsible for other people's well-being, which, I didn't even fully recognize at the time. and that I was responsible for how other people felt. And I can't even begin to tell you just the shift in those two things alone, how powerful that has been in the way that I react and respond. And it might seem like, well, then you're just cold and heartless now. But no, I have this ability to respond to them in such a way that's empowering myself and empowering them.
So potent. And because that's the thing, it's like when we actually are the savior, we are actually doing a disservice to somebody else, because they are here for their soul growth lessons. They are creators just as we are. We're not here to save. And the thing about the process is that what I also do, I'm such an investigator, and I have studied many different modalities in a child counseling, NLP. I've always been somebody excited by the way the mind works. So I've actually combined what I know about ancient wisdom and energy healing to neuroscience. So there is also the aspect of it where you are able to integrate new behaviors, rewire neural pathways, and use so many tools that I've come up with in a way that's very organized, because that's my talent. I was a teacher. That was my talent when I was a teacher. It was creating really high quality and highly effective tools to help people to think critically and to be able to do things, to become the expert. That's what the whole thing was about. Being empowered to be able to become the inner alchemist, the inner healer, to activate the magician, to create change, to create consciously, to start playing with that super conscious and bringing things into existence, because you no longer have the vibration. You don't have these counter intentions blocking what you're trying to use. You can't use affirmations. Abraham Hicks will take you so far, and that's it. We all learn this along the way. And that's what spurred my work on to go further. I love her work, but that's only part of the story. What we're dealing with here is everything. It's the emotions, it's clearing the energy body, it's clearing the subconscious mind, and it's then allowing you to use the affirmations, to use the gratitude, to use these positivity, to reframe what's possible and reframe your thinking. So you become more balanced. It clears away the infrequency, imbalance in frequencies, and brings you back into what we keep calling alignment. And eventually this balance, this harmony, then seeps out into your material world, and you begin to develop your material abundance. Even, and so should we talk? Well, I mean, we don't have to, but what about like when we actually did the attunement? What happened that weekend?
Oh gosh, yes. So like I was saying earlier, I was stuck in a miserable marriage, and when you did the attunement, the thing that was really kind of a difficulty in my life at the time was that I had been seeking a divorce for a long time, and my ex was really dragging his feet, making it difficult. It was causing me a lot of stress. And so when we did the attunement, you asked me to select something in my life that we could use for the attunement process. And I selected, my divorce, that was something that I needed help with. And oh my gosh, so it had been like stalled for months. And we did the work together. I believe it was on a Thursday. No, I believe it was on a Friday evening. Things just started shifting and moving and shifting and moving. And I didn't do anything to initiate it other than work on myself, other than to attune myself, to release these limiting beliefs. And when I did that, it just allowed this natural amount of love to flow to everyone involved. So just sending love out into the world and sending love to everybody involved in the process, even the mediator and just everyone. And it just started to flow and flow without that stickiness of the negative emotions, the stagnant energy. It was just gone. And it wasn't necessarily even on my part before, but clearing my own energy and becoming more aligned and in tune with myself had this amazing ripple effect. Amazing ripple effect. So that was one thing that started happening. But the other thing that started happening through our work together is I started just receiving downloads of information about a program that I wanted to create. And it would wake me up in the middle of the night. This energy, this inspiration would just wake me up. And I would grab my phone and just make list after list after list. I mean, my lists were just so long because it was such a strong sense of drawing to this particular program and style of teaching and the people that I wanted to reach, that I had to write it down. It wasn't, of me. It was something that I could do, but it was given to me. It was this big, beautiful gift. And I know that before that time, before the clearing that I had done with all of my own energy and all my own shit, I was not in a place where I could have received that information. And it happens to me over and over and over again now.
And that's part of what this idea of Ho'oponopono is. It clears away all of what is not true, what is illusion and what is false, what is old, that doesn't belong to us. And it actually creates a very clear connection from the higher self to the divine intelligence. So you're able to receive what is for you and connect with your higher guidance, and then just take action, inspired action. And that's what another aspect of the clearing is so powerful for. The basis of Ho'oponopono is the idea of the interconnection of all life. So the idea is that whatever is happening in the external is based on the thought forms that we are putting out. And that's why individual responsibility and taking ownership for our own transformation is what is going to have the biggest powerful impact on changing the world. Because I call it individual responsibility for collective success. What we see in the external world is simply something within us. And when you take radical responsibility and move away from the victimhood, away from blaming, shaming, criticism, and you say, okay, that person's doing that, what is it within me? Is it a belief that I have, an expectation that I have? Is it an old wound that I have? What is it? And when you cut to the core, you just clear it. So it's not weeks and months of therapy. It's not weeks and months of talking about journaling all the day. You're just clearing it and it's gone. And that's what the beauty of the work is. What else? Where are we at? Is there anything we need to cover that we haven't really spoken about, or that you want to share?
I just, I think I just have such a heart of gratitude for this work and for everything that it has allowed me to shift and to do differently. It's like I see now the things that I want in life. And like we were even just talking yesterday about, the phrase of "I love it when."
Oh yeah.
And I just so it has shifted me coming from my former place was this place of lack. And now I find ways that I'm just surrounded with abundance and beauty and synchronicities, looking for all of it in my life. And it just brings me so much joy, and just following the joy. Yeah. That is those are the beautiful breadcrumbs that take us to places. Yeah. So for instance, right now, so since my dream is to have a big, beautiful house, I'm creating that reality for myself. And in the meantime, I found a way to do these house sits in just beautiful locations. The house I'm in right now is $1.5 million.
Mm.
And it has this gorgeous view. And it is just, I'm surrounded by abundance. And it just makes me so happy. And instead of like, I think formerly I may have thought, oh, I want a house like this, like, oh, you're coming from that place of lack, instead of just the place of appreciation and enjoying all the beauty that surrounds us all of the time, no matter what our situation.
Absolutely. And that is what spiritual abundance is. And that is also what it is when we are present. That's what happens when we open up to the magic. The universe is providing all the time in different ways. And if we let go of expectation of how we think it should come, we can just put it out there and how it comes. And when we recognize it, we're able to go, whoa, okay, that's it. And like you, when I went on my journey, I had no money. And I had to just trust that this guidance I was receiving and all the signs, the animals, the numbers, the feathers were guiding me, and my intuition, not just the external synchronicities, but yeah, life, I call it being guided by your higher consciousness. And I too was turning, houses would appear, massive, beautiful places would appear that I would end up staying in. Food would appear, like people, places, things. And that's the magic of living a life by design and consciously creating what you want and co-creating with the universe. That's the ultimate in co-creation. And when you let go of what other people's form of success is or version of success, and you start aligning with your truth. So like going back to the thing about finding out I was a projector, it wasn't that I thought I had ADHD. I don't have ADHD. As soon as I started doing Kundalini yoga and stopped taking stimulants, stopped working 70 hours a week according to somebody else's rules and having pressure to create every day and never have a break, I was able to step into my own alignment of what I'm meant to be. And so those things fell away. They weren't necessary. And I haven't studied human design in the level that I want to, but that is something I am so excited by, that over the next 2 years, I see that as becoming part of my practice as well. But yeah, looking into your human design is really powerful. Now, the other great thing I found was through my own process of coming back to the self, I was already, the guy Ra, who created human design or channeled it, says it takes 7 years of deconditioning to come into your alignment. And for me, it's really just been since 2019, 2021, we're now in the third year. And I was already deconditioning and stepping into my own power and living a life in a way that was suitable to me. I haven't worked in a job, the kind of job that, 9 to 5 since 2018 when I handed in my resignation. I have always had, maybe not what I want millions, I want thousands of pounds, I want all of that, but I always have enough and I always have what I need, and it always comes miraculously. I hardly have any possessions. I'm still walking really light, but I have everything. And so I'm being given the space to develop my modalities, to create the impactful materials and transformational tools that I want to share with the world. And so it's letting go of the collective or mass consciousness ideas of what and who you should be. And when you follow that path of healing and coming back to yourself, just following that intuition is the most powerful tool that I think we can give ourselves. And that's why the Meditation Mastery membership container begins with that. Connecting with the intuition, having the tools to clear your energy and manage energy and manipulate energy, and then create things using energy, and then having the Ho'oponopono. And so I have 3 different programs. There's the Inner Pilgrim, which is the like one-to-one, that's quite heavy with me. Then you've got the Meditation Mastery, and then you've got the Ho'oponopono, and you can combine and do whatever. But it's, as a package, what I do is help you have the tools to become your own healer. And become very empowered. And I say the 3 terms: the inner healer, the inner alchemist, the inner magician. That's the
Yeah.
no work.
I've seen so much magic happen in my life through my work with you. I know for a fact that if I hadn't met you, and the first time I ever met you, I was just drawn to you. And I know for a fact that if I hadn't gone through this work and done this, yes, I would still have some growth, but not anywhere near the growth that I've had through my work with you. And I've learned so much more about myself. And not only am I aligning with my true self, my authentic self, but I recognize it so much faster when I'm out of alignment. And then I know how to correct it now. Before I didn't, I kind of, as sad as it is, I kind of saw myself as a shell of a human being.
Me too, back in that day.
And it breaks my heart now, but it also makes me seriously well up with tears when I think of how far I've come. So like you, like I didn't know what my dreams and desires were. I had no clue. And now the vast difference is I'm creating this life. And it's so empowering to know that through my thoughts and through this work, I can create this and have created a life that I truly love living every single day.
That's amazing. It's so beautiful. And that's what life's about. And we're here to awaken. We're here to evolve. We're here to step back into the power and reclaim it every day. Fall down, get back up, whatever. Love it all of the human experience. We can do all of it and love it all. And
yes. And the really neat thing is before, if I had a moment where I was falling down, I would see it as, oh shit, a moment of panic, the nervous system would be like, oh, what are you doing? This is unsafe. And now when I have moments where I fall down, it's like, this is awesome. Like I get excited because I know it's an opportunity for growth.
Yes.
It's a magical opportunity. This isn't something to fear or, to be ashamed of or afraid of. It's just an area where I get to make my life even more rich and more fulfilling.
Exactly. So beautiful. That is so powerful and so true. And that's the other thing. It's about shifting that perspective to reframe what's possible. Limitless possibilities, multiple opportunities to change, grow, evolve, expand. And especially when you start seeing the world in that way, you're like, oh, okay, I created that. I do not prefer it. What do I need to do? What do I need to clear? How do I need to change? And you know that you can. And that's the difference from being in the victim and being limited to having that expanded consciousness and seeing the world through magic, wonder, and awe. That having that inner spaciousness, having that wisdom and that inner master to call on and just say, okay, what do I need to do now? Lisa. Okay.
The last thing I want to share is like, and I know I mentioned this before, but like you're talking about, shifting your mindset. And with this process, it happens like so quickly and so automatically. It's like, it doesn't, like you were saying before, affirmations. I do love affirmations and I still use them, but it's like, it's not work when you're shifting, like the work of trying to shift an old conditioning or limiting belief can take such a long time. Yes. But this process, it's boom, it's just gone. And it's like, where did that go? I'm responding in this world differently. And I love this about myself, but how did this magic happen? It truly is magic.
And the thing is, and that's why I call it alchemy, because it is alchemical. It's an alchemical process. You identify, you put in the word, you ask, and we verify it straight away and it's gone. And it's like, I think I just want to highlight as well to the audience listening, it isn't just limiting beliefs, it's emotions, it's stored trauma. It can be, you can clear objects, buildings, places, you can clear addictions. Like, I don't want to like say too much and then be held accountable, but like, we're not allowed to do medical advice and things like that, but all I say to everyone is you choose what you want to do and you verify it for yourself and make it happen. And it works on also calling things in. So clearing the energy, the travel, making your travel. You want all green lights. You want your travel to be easy. You're going to have a miraculous journey. Oh, you can't get into this restaurant. Clear the energy. Suddenly you can. And it's things like that.
That totally has happened to me.
Me too.
Yes.
In so many ways, so many different examples.
Little things and huge things. And it doesn't matter because it's like, it all builds on each other. Even the smallest things will just build on each other. And it's just so beautiful. When you get into this flow of seeing how magical life can happen, you really, truly do feel limitless.
And what I've also begun, so as I've developed this practice and I create different ways of using it, the other thing I've been recently working on is clearing the root thought forms, the beliefs and the chronic thoughts that lead to illness or physical stored energy in the body. So I was getting shingles, and it was because I had fear and dread. And it says in Louise Hay's book, which I refer to, that, it's fear of the other shoe to drop. So I go, okay, there's a clue. So my external world, the shingles in my physical body, is showing up. Let me go to my book. Okay, the book's telling me that. Here's some evidence. What would I have to believe for this? What is going on in my life for this to be? And then you ask the subconscious, you get your answers, you clear it, you do the tool, and it's gone. And it was gone within 24 hours. Worked with somebody the other day, cleared the sciatica, because we cut to the core of the thought forms, the beliefs that were creating the manifestation of it in the physical body. So there are about 6 different masterclasses, I call them, or like workbooks, areas that I've broken this practice down into. And it's limiting beliefs, it's where it's energy stored in the body and it's coming up through illness. You get a cold, congestion, okay. And it's the investigative process that I teach people. Right. And then we've got like inner child, in stagnant emotions and other things. And so, it's a really comprehensive and powerful evolving practice. So if anybody out there is listening and they're interested in developing training in this modality, if you're a healer, if you're a self-healer, if you're a law of attraction practitioner and you're just not manifesting, we just need to clear those things. You can train. That's what I really want to do. I want to train as many people as possible to become Mindset Alchemy practitioners. When you train, you become part of the Mindset Alchemy Ho'oponopono community, and you are there for life. You can evolve, you can share with other people your practice, you can have access to the resources, and as it expands and grows, you'll always be part of a community of people that are creating really powerful transformation for themselves and others. And the price for that training at the moment is only 1,997 English pounds. So reach out if this is exciting to you and it's something you want to learn. Please be in touch, because I'm passionate about sharing it and getting it out there.
And I would highly recommend it. It has been so transformational for me, and I've heard so many other people talk about your work and how much has transformed their lives. And I'm a living example of it. I really am. I really believe in this process and all of the work that you've done. And it makes my heart so full to think of how different the world could be when more and more and more people are trained to just get rid of their shit and live their happiest life.
Yes. And that's it. It's life-changing. The world will become the world we want when everyone deals with their own stuff, becomes the lover, realizes that they can just live in unity and love. Unity and love. That's what we want, and that's what we can have, and it's not impossible. I'm reframing what's possible.
Yes.
I'm doing my little bit. We all are. Okay. We've got to go.
Thank you so much for all of the work that you do and all of the people that you touch, all of the healing, all of the transformation. I just have a huge heart of gratitude for you. So thank you so, so very much.
Thank you so much. And It is such a deep privilege and an honor for me, you know, and I'm so happy that I responded to the call and did my work so that I could now come and do the work that I was meant to do, live my purpose work and soul work. And it's very humbling, really powerful. Thank you so much for coming to share your story, to share your energy, to celebrate the work that I'm creating, and for being part of my own journey. Thank you.
Much love to you.
So much love. Okay, we're just gonna come off Facebook now. I don't know who's live. If has anyone been live? We don't know. I'm just gonna see if I can see it on my phone.
I didn't even look. Are we still live?
No, we're still live. I just want to see. I see the problem is I'm not really au fait with all of this yet. So I can't. Let's have a look if I can see it on my phone.
So are we looking to see if other people have like questions?
Catching the live. We've got Akita. Do we have any questions? Are there any live viewers with questions? The thing is, I have to not look at Facebook. So I come off, I go live and I come off Facebook so that I can see. And
because it says we still are recording live on Facebook.
It's still there, but what happens is I don't think I'm going to experiment with this. Maybe we'll do this another time. Yeah. Okay. I don't know. What happens is when I go on Facebook, when it goes live, if I keep it on Facebook, it's weird. It's a delay. So I come off Facebook, which means I can't see the comments. And we get hit. Anyway, right. Now I'm going to have to do a whole heap of editing. But anyway. Bye, guys. Thanks for watching. So stop the live.
There we go.
And now I'm going to stop the recording.